I am Zeynep, your Turkish teacher, and here is how to think in Turkish. This is something that you already know how to do on a small scale. Let me show you what I mean. What do you say to someone that is working in Turkish? Did it take you a long time to come up with kolay gelsin? Did you translate it in your head? My educated guess is not, because you probably couldn't have translated it anyway, because it doesn't translate well into most languages. So you are able to do it. But how? Let's discover this together so you can apply it to the rest of the language. Now, I know that it's easy to say don't translate, but I'll give you a fantastic tip that you can use so that you come away from translation as much as possible. We need to look at how you learn to say kolay gelsin to better understand what's going on. Did you read it in your textbook? Did you hear it from your teacher? Did you hear it in a YouTube video? Did a friend tell you to use it? We can all agree that learning happened one way or another. But what happened next is where it gets interesting. The odds are you started using it where you thought native people would use it. And it was appropriate. You said it at the end of your lesson to your teacher. You said it to the shopkeeper in Turkey. And it became second nature. You were doing this without thinking because you created your own experience of kolay gelsin in your head. You gathered a bunch of instances to create a concept of kolay gelsin for yourself. No translation was necessary, and this concept had its own mind space in your brain. Learning is the result of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change and adapt in response to learning and experience. So experiences that you pay a lot of attention to open up plasticity. When you are alert, adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, are present in your system, and these highlight areas in the brain where plasticity can occur. So you know the feeling where you are totally absorbed in something. This is the state that we are after. And this is the reason why learning happens at a much faster rate when you are in this state. So maybe you are watching a TV series that you are super focused on, or you are doing an activity. Make note of it. And if it doesn't involve Turkish, see how you can include Turkish in this activity. Do so consciously at first until it becomes automatic. Do you see where we are going here? We are trying to free Turkish from your native language to create its own experience associations. When Turkish is firmly stuck to your native language, the thinking process slows down. You want to say, your brain first goes, you guessed it, cat, and then that is translated into Turkish, and then you produce kedi. So this process is lengthy and it makes communication inefficient. I'm not saying not to translate ever, that is not possible. What I'm trying to say is that you need to create novel associations in your brain that are free from your native language after finding out what that thing means. I mentioned watching a series before. This is something you can do to give your brain context. Another excellent thing you can do is to use language in conversation. Another thing is listening to songs and singing along. You can find a video on the channel with very good songs to learn Turkish with. Remember I said I would give you a revolutionary trick to stop translating? Let's talk about that. So when you are reading something or listening to something, there will be bits of things that you don't understand. Lean into the context. What could it mean? Try to think about it for a second and then let it slide. And the next time that the thing comes up again, do this again. The meaning will be vague in your mind first, but with more exposure like this, the meaning will narrow down. And congratulations! You now have a concept of that thing in your brain that is free from translation, that is attached to the context only. Now that you have come to this stage where you are creating your own experiences, it's time to do it again. An interesting phrase or a word that you just learned? Repeat it out loud 100 times, but do this at intervals. Repetition is what's going to take that thing from your short-term memory and put it into your long-term memory. Don't be afraid to use the same structures and vocabulary in speech. This is desired. I know that you may want to start talking about anything and everything as soon as possible, but don't get impatient. It can overload the brain to try to use a million different vocabulary items and a million different structures at the same time during the learning stage. Learn one new thing at a time and really solidify it before moving on to the next. This is why good courses, textbooks, and teachers recycle the same vocabulary and the structures over and over again. This helps those things to create their own mind space in the brain before new things are added, which will inevitably be latched to your native language. We need to give your brain some space. There is an efficient way to nurture a Turkish brain, and that is to stop questioning everything. Turkish is a very logical language in the opinion of many students, but I'm sure you fall into excessive logical thinking from time to time. You need to stop doing this because 1, it takes too much time, and 2, it creates suspicion around the thing that you are trying to grasp. So sometimes you just need to take things for what they are. To give you an example, when I teach the word özlemek, to miss, özlemek, to my students, they immediately ask me if they can use it for buses, trains, meetings. Özlemek means to miss. So why shouldn't we use it for buses and trains and meetings? We say otobüsü kaçırdım. I missed the bus. Otobüsü kaçırdım in Turkish, which literally translates into I made the bus escape. So do you see why you should stop questioning with lots of whys now? Because if you do this, you will never be able to say, I made the bus escape in Turkish, which you should. This is how we say, I missed the bus. Otobüsü kaçırdım. So should you force yourself to think in Turkish? Absolutely not. We want a relaxed and calm mind state for best learning. So remind yourself that you are actually able to do it. Kolay gelsin. Start creating experiences around words and grammatical structures, leaving translation behind as soon as possible, and then rinse and repeat. Set the right goals as you do, and don't overwhelm yourself with more information than your brain can handle, and take things for what they are. Expect and embrace errors while you do. These add to the experience. Enjoy your new outlook on Turkish, and I will see you in the next video.